Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel where today we're going on tour. Let me take you with me as I pack up life in Montreal and head on the road to Germany for our annual Christmas contract. Get a glimpse behind the curtain and see what it's like as a contemporary circus artist, traveling with giant props and working with artists from around the world to put together a show. If you're new here, I'm Shannon Makes, and here on YouTube, I mainly make videos about sewing, crafting, house renovation, and DIY. But I've been performing professionally for many years, and I figured this was the perfect moment to take you along with me as we put together this show. The first step of most contracts, besides, of course, training and rehearsing, is doing a show inventory. So getting all of our costumes together and seeing if anything needs repair or replacing, going through our makeup, seeing what's missing, checking if our shoes need sanding, topping up on consumables like chalk and tape.
So this could get tacked in then?
What could get tacked in?
I don't want this to happen.
In this case, I had a spare pair of pants that was mostly ready to go. I just needed to finish the button and the buttonhole. So all in all, a fairly simple and quick fix, and then I could start packing my bags. I don't know about you, but I always love packing my bags. It's always my favorite part of travel is just getting ready. I've always really loved it. So I thought I'd go through a couple of my travel essentials, what I always bring with me. First, we've got a little bit of light reading for the road. Really excited to dig into this one. Homes of Nova Scotia. Learn some more about the regionally specific architecture of the area. I've got my current knitting project. What's on my needles right now? It is this one. Very cute. Having fun with that. Then I always travel with a bunch of like kitchen essentials. So I've got, my portable coffee filter. I tend to bring a little bit of coffee grounds with it to get me jump started on the first day on a contract. I also always have like a sharp kitchen knife, and I try to bring at least a couple loads worth of laundry detergent. And today what I'm bringing are these. These are the detergent sheets by Earthbreeze. They are also kindly sponsoring today's video. So Earthbreeze is a mission-driven, sustainable laundry detergent company that was founded in 2019, and they are dedicated to revolutionizing how people do laundry while also making a positive global impact. So these are their eco-friendly laundry sheets. It also eliminates single-use plastic packaging and reduces shipping carbon footprint because they are up to 21 times lighter than traditional detergent, which I can confirm this is like paper thin, super light, really easy to throw in the suitcase. Like I always say, it is friendlier on the planet and on your wallet when you're not paying to ship water all over the globe. Their detergent sheets are free from harsh chemicals like optical brighteners and dyes, parabens, phosphates, preservatives. These chemicals can irritate your skin and cause allergic reactions, while the optical brighteners literally stick to your clothes like glue. Earthbreeze's sheets are non-irritating, and they're fragrance-free options over here because I know many of you out there do prefer the unscented options. These are safe for sensitive skin. So, with Earthbreeze, you don't have to deal with the heavy plastic jugs. There's no mess. There's no harsh chemical residue. Just nice, clean, fresh clothes. So right now you can try Earthbreeze for up to 40% off plus 4 free gifts by clicking the link in the description or scanning the QR code on screen. So now, back to packing, starting with my freshly repaired and mended costumes.
Hoef je bij het overstappen niet uit en in te checken. Reserveren met NS. Vergeet dan niet uit te checken bij Blauwnet.
Okay, so I managed to get a decent night's sleep last night, a little bit jet lagged, feeling pretty good. Gonna head on into the tent and see where we're at, get our stuff set up, try to find our equipment. Well, the lighting in here is garbage, but we have our 2 road cases. In that one, that's our pole. Poles live in there, everything else lives in here, and there is so much. We've got, you know, priorities, Canal stick, Canal's dog towels, so much packaging just to keep everything safe and padded. This is the basket for the top of the pole. We've got like so much random stuff. This is to charge our light bulbs. This is because Tupperwares are so useful on contract, you know. Umbrella and rain jacket because Norway, Germany, Copenhagen, everywhere we work, it's rainy. Yeah, and then we've just got, you know, the essentials, a roller, some makeup and stuff, hairspray, shoes, like spare costumes. We don't leave too many costumes in here because it does sometimes get wet in our warehouse, which is also why we have this. We've got a couple big bags of this that live in here. Honestly, I keep telling myself I've got room for a sewing machine in here. I just haven't been able to find one yet. But it would be really useful because our costumes keep breaking. Recognize those? My bed, Canel's bed. Ugh, this lighting though. Oh yeah, well, that was a good one. That was a good one for the camera. Got a utility blade, nice. A quick look told us that the stage was being occupied, so we had plenty of time to assemble our pole and entertain the dog. So yeah, first days on longer contracts like this are usually pretty mellow. There's time to unpack everything that's been accumulated and saved from previous contracts, like, for example, this warm-up suit, which longtime viewers of the channel might recognize from way back when I was living in Copenhagen. I also found all of the Christmas supplies carefully packed away from last year's Christmas in Erfurt. Those were pulled out and put in the backpack to take home, and then we just started the process of reassembling our pole. We're going through and making sure it is in ship shape, we're cleaning it up, making sure it's safe, secure, and looking good for this run of shows. Then it was time to install the setup in the stage, and if the previous assembly part was all routine, this section is the unknown quantity because it's always an interesting challenge to figure out how to install the base for the pole. It changes in every theater, every stage, and fortunately, by complete coincidence, this rigging crew did include a few guys from last year's setup in Erfurt, so they were familiar with the prop and more or less remembered how we had set it up there. But of course, nothing could ever be that simple or straightforward because the other guys who had set up the scissor lift in the middle of the stage were not familiar with our prop, and so the way they installed it was at complete odds with how we needed to install our pole. It was in the way, and so there was just a bit of head scratching, a lot of discussion, problem solving, and proposed solutions. Honestly, pretty par for the course.
And they just go as far as they can.
Go up to that third leg.
Or weld into it.
And then in front. Okay, so things are going pretty well with the setup inside. It's not like perfect. We are obviously having to construct something, do some problem solving. I will say that is why I love working with circus folks, because there's never a problem. It's just always solutions. There are multiple solutions. What's the best solution? What's the answer? I love that. I love the tenacity. We fit right in at the circus. What can I say? The bit of bad news that we did just get, however, is that we will be the first act in the show, which is great in terms of it means like we can just show up and do a quick warm-up, do our act, and then hang out backstage the whole rest of the show and relax. But it's bad in every other sense because, like, generally speaking, you know, you want to start the show with, I mean, ideally with some sort of MC or clown or somebody to do like an audience warm-up participation, kind of get everybody on the same page and focused and ready to see a show. And then you want to lead with a really high energy act that's like snazzy, pizzazzy, is going to get everyone's attention and, you know, get them going, kind of set the mood to see a show. Our act is not that. Our act is more poetic, quiet, romantic, elegant, slower, and it generally fits better like after people have seen a number of acts. You want like some high energy acts, some funny acts, and then you change it up. You change up the pace, you change up the tone with our act. That's why we're here. So as it stands, what's going to be, it's going to be not great for the audience because they're just not going to be like emotionally ready for it. That sounds so corny, but it's true. Like, they're just not going to be in the right headspace quite yet to be like, oh yeah, we're seeing a show. It's not the greatest place for them to appreciate our act, and it's also not going to be great for us because the audience is going to be dead. Like, they're not going to have the right reactions. They're not primed for what we're going to be throwing at them. So that's very unfortunate, and we will be working to try to convince them to put us elsewhere in the show. It is early. It is day one of like roughly a week of rehearsals, so there's a chance we can get them to like change it up, but I'm not very hopeful, especially considering that all the other artists are inside right now learning a choreography for the group ensemble intro. And the reason I'm not there is because it's gonna be right after our act, so we don't have to do it. So we weren't called, we're not going to be learning that choreography. It's probably not so complicated that we couldn't pick it up, but like, they seem very set on this plan going forward, so we're going to try and change their mind, but I'm not incredibly hopeful. Anyway, back to it. Let's go continue setting up our poles. Yay! So back inside, a potential solution had been found, but it was unfortunately time to give the stage to another act. So we cleared out, we let that group rehearse, and also had a quick snack break. And here we are testing out the solution, which involved a lot of welding, a couple metal brackets, and a lot of tent stakes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Nice.
So Phil, who's heavier and able to bend the pole to its fullest extent, he climbs up, he starts swinging around while I am keeping my eye on the setup below, seeing how it reacts, seeing if it moves, and if we need to fix or improve it. And in the end, there did end up being a bit too much flex in the first version of this setup, so the tent crew made some notes and agreed to work on it before the next rehearsal. The fun just doesn't stop because we are free from rehearsals. We're gonna go into town and check out the Christmas markets because the way these rehearsals work, they're often quite chaotic. This might be literally our last chance to do it before we start doing shows and having evening rehearsals and everything. So last chance, possibly. Well, let's go have some fun at the Christmas markets. Now, German Christmas markets are not anything new to us. I've spent nearly as many Christmases in Germany as I have at home at this point, so it's a bit rare for us to find anything completely new that we haven't seen or tried before, but that doesn't mean that we don't immensely enjoy strolling around, admiring the booths, and we always manage to find a tasty treat. This year we actually did find a crepe stand with a filling that was new to us, which is cherries with Grand Marnier. Highly recommend it. You'll notice she wasn't being stingy with the liquor either. And as big cherry fans, this one was definitely a hit. A bit messy to eat, but delicious, and if we find ourselves back at the Christmas markets again, I wouldn't be surprised if we had seconds. Good morning, friends. I found us an absolutely killer Airbnb. It is gorgeous, it is huge, and just having so much fun with it. This place basically checks all of my boxes. I am so happy to have found it. The instant that I saw it, I basically booked it, and that was months and months ago because I did not want anybody else to book it for, say, a short weekend in the middle of the month that we're here, and then that would, you know, completely cramp our style. We wouldn't be able to take this place. It is a very short walk to the tent. It is a very short walk to a couple grocery stores, which that is just it changes everything. We have definitely been in contracts where the apartment doesn't have a kitchenette, sometimes doesn't even have a mini fridge, and generally in Europe, you know, you're always within walking distance, easy walking distance of a grocery store, but there was one year where we didn't have a kitchen and we really weren't in walking distance to anything. We were kind of like stuck out in the middle of nowhere. That was really, really difficult. So this year I did look into taking the buyout. So basically taking the money that the company would spend to lodge us in the hotel of their choice and taking that money, and then we book accommodations for ourselves. So I did some digging on Airbnb and found this place, and I am absolutely thrilled with it. So yeah. I think the next thing up is going to be decorating our little Christmas corner here, getting it nice and cozy, getting some holiday cheer in here, and then it's basically going to be time probably to head into the tent and do more rehearsals. We do have a show to put on after all. If you've watched any of my Christmas themed content before, you'll know that I'm a big fan of the cozy, warm white lights for Christmas, so my decorations are pretty minimal. We've got green garland, cheerful red glass ornaments, and these little Christmas houses that I 3D printed in last week's episode, and they fit right in. They make a really nice addition to my Christmas setup. Okay, well, we still need a Christmas tree, but it's a good start. These guys are the lights for the Christmas tree, which I guess can go there. Then it was back into the tent for rehearsals. This time, the whole cast was called because we were going to stage the introduction together with the pole act, and thankfully, our choreographer decided to put the introduction before our act rather than after it. I'm just so thankful that this turned out this way. At least the audience is going to have a little bit of warning that the show is starting. It's not just going to be cold turkey thrown into our act. And we weren't actually required to run through our number, but we know how these rehearsals work, and we also knew this might be one of the only chances that we had to try out the pole in the stage with the new setup, so we did run through our act, which also gave the spotlight operator a chance to practice, which, looking back at this footage, it's probably a good thing. So the next days were just filled with various rehearsals for all the acts, especially the ones with big props that need extra practice or that can't practice backstage, which meant that we had some free time to relax, explore the city, and also just settle in the new apartment. Hello friends, I found a few more things to add to the setup we've got going on here. I have not managed to find a Christmas tree yet because we haven't had time, but I am ready for it because I found these guys. I have a few little glass pine cones that I got in Erfurt last year, so I have these. And then I also have a couple cheerful Christmas candles. I've got a red and a green, and they also were tucked away in the crate, so these are going just for decoration. We're not lighting them, but they're hanging out there on the setup, which is, we've been using it every night, and it is just so cozy. I've also got a real fire burning just off screen, so that's adding to the whole aesthetic. I've got the sounds and the smells of the fire. It's just so happy with this Airbnb setup. Phil is at the tent at the moment, and I actually have to go grab the doggo and go meet him. We're gonna exercise the dog before the show today, which is our premiere, so wish us luck. Okay, I gotta go. So it's premiere day and everyone's a bit excited and also a bit curious because honestly, we haven't really had quite enough time to rehearse. There were some last minute changes, some things were barely rehearsed at all, but if anybody embodies the expression, the show must go on, it's definitely circus artists. And the show did go on, and it was quite well received, and afterwards, everybody met in the front tent for an informal and well-deserved celebration.